Today in Anime Vanguards, we are going to be talking about the current strongest units in the game. So without further ado, let us get this video started. By the way, guys, our goal is to eventually get to 100k subscribers, and the only people that can help me reach this goal is you. So if you want to help us get to that goal, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. By subscribing, you also get to be part of the OG subs of AB Plays. So without further ado, let's get this video started. I was supposed to make a tier list about this, talking about the updated tier list in Anime Vanguards, but instead, I decided to just talk about the top 5 current strongest units in Anime Vanguards, because that's pretty much where most of the changes happened. So, alright, that's basically what we're gonna start right now. The most convenient unit, which is also number 5 in our list, which is going to be ESCANOR. Now, the reason why ESCANOR is, I call him the most convenient unit, is because if you get ESCANOR Monarch, chances of you using ESCANOR the most is very high. And this is because ESCANOR with Monarch and solo pretty much 90% of the game modes in the game that doesn't has shields. ESCANOR can solo most of them. And this is why you're most likely going to be using ESCANOR the most. Like, let me give you an example right here. I'm going to head on to challenges. Go right here, check weekly challenges, click play, and it's gonna be Hill of Swords, as you guys can see right there. I can click start, just burn all my units and place ESCANOR here, and ESCANOR alone can solo pretty much the entirety of this game mode, and basically it's gonna be free. I can literally just place ESCANOR down here, as long as he has Monarch, maybe even without Monarch, then I can just go outside, make myself some breakfast, and come back to 20 rerolls, because I'm right now doing weekly challenges. He's basically just gonna clear this entire stage alone. So that is why he's the most convenient unit, and also is at number 5. And at number 4, we have the unit that defied it all, the unit that has stayed in number 1 or in the meta for one of the longest periods in the game, none other than YHWACH. Now, the reason why YHWACH is one of the strongest units in Anime Vanguards mainly just comes down to how useful this unit really is and how cheap he is. So this unit actually, if you read the description right here in the tier list, YHWACH has the potential to have insane DPS with unbelievable range. With a team of max rares, he's able to deal around 150,000 DPS with 160 range. In this aspect, he is unmatched. And basically, the thing about YHWACH that people don't know is that he actually does 2 times damage, or 2 times DPS. He attacks twice. So whatever DPS you are seeing of YHWACH, that's multiplied by 2 because he attacks twice. Now, the thing with YHWACH as well is he's very cheap, only about 60,000 to max out. He has full AoE, and if you utilize his ability, he can increase his DPS, he can increase his range to, again, this number right here, 150,000 DPS and 160 range. Now, if you have a unit like YHWACH that costs 67,550 to max out, with full AoE and attacks twice, and has 150,000 DPS, with 160 range, that basically becomes one of the most powerful units in the game. Now, YHWACH is still very powerful in a lot of game modes, still incredibly powerful for tournaments and whatnot. At number 3, we have the mother of Chakra herself, which is none other than KAGUYA Otsutsuki. By the way, we just finished the weekly challenge again with ESCANOR, as you guys can see. But again, with KAGUYA, a lot of KAGUYA's full potential is the fact that KAGUYA is insane and is actually pretty brainless. Now, KAGUYA is a unit that can teleport all over the map, has map-wide crowd control. Like, he has map-wide slow, map-wide burn, map-wide nuke. A lot of what KAGUYA does is map-wide, which basically means a lot of what KAGUYA does affects the entire map. And also, KAGUYA has some of the best support capabilities in the game. Not anymore now that GRIFFITH exists and a lot of these other units exist. But KAGUYA is still a very powerful unit in the regards that, I mean, he or she can teleport the entire map-wide damage, and all those other stuff. But apart from that, it's also how well KAGUYA pairs with a lot of these other units. Like, for example, KAGUYA pairs incredibly well with units like ESCANOR, and this is mainly because if I place KAGUYA down right here and read her passives, basically what this says is, right here, this unit is counted as each element currently on the team. If this unit swaps a dimension and it matches an element already applied to this unit gains plus 50% damage. So, if you have units like ESCANOR, which is burn, units like Goku with water, KAGUYA will be able to get those elements on herself. So this includes units like Sung Jin Woo. So if you have Sung Jin Woo, KAGUYA will also have Unknown. So this is why you pretty much want to use Kaguya with an unknown unit, because if you don't use Kaguya with an unknown unit, she will be affected by stuns and debuffs and whatnot. She does just pair very well with all these other units, and also obviously her ability to buff those units as well is very nice. Now at number 2, we have none other than leader of the Band of the Hawks, Griffith. Now the reason why Griffith is incredibly powerful and why a lot of people do not understand why he's so good, I'm just gonna reset right here and show you exactly why. Now essentially what Griffith is the ultimate cost efficient unit. Imagine having a unit that basically costs 1,000 to place, 1,000 to max out as well. You just place Griffith down right here, activate his Eye Sacrifice, and at the very earliest you can get him at around, you can get his his final form at around wave 6 or wave 7. And apparently at the latest you can get it around wave 8. And it's very, very cost efficient because again, it requires you to have basically 0 yen. I'm just gonna remove my yen right here and skip waves. And as you guys can see right here, as I skip waves, he transforms. So basically, this just makes it really, really nice. But one other thing that makes this even better is if I activate this ability one more time and skip him a bunch more times to get to his final form. Obviously, I'm skipping him for demonstration purposes. Skip wave a bunch of times right here. And at wave 9, we have his final form, and he's also max upgraded. Here, at this form of his, he also has a 40% buff to all the allies in his range. So if I place down Sukuna right here, Sukuna gets a 40% buff from Griffith. If I place Sukuna out of his range, Sukuna only gets a 30% buff because from his passives. If I place him here, Sukuna gets an additional 40%. If I place down Kaguya right here, Kaguya gets a 40%. Even farms get a 40% buff from Griffith. And if you don't know how good 40% is, that's incredibly good. 40% is incredibly high for a unit, especially because it's permanent, right? Unlike, for example, the Smith, who can apply his buff to one unit, Falcon can apply his 40% buff to every unit in his range, effectively making everybody in his range just do permanent 40% more damage, all the while being able to do all the other things he does. He does repulse, he actually does slow as well. And with all that in mind, this unit becomes great literally everywhere for cost efficiency, for support, for crowd control, for damage. And at number 1, we have the king of curses himself, now known as the king of anime vanguards, Sukuna. Now, he is essentially on placement full AoE. Let me explain why on placement he is already full AoE. I place him down right here, and as long as he has enemies that cannot get one-shotted, he will be doing full AoE. So if I spawn in, if he hits them, he's going to do a follow-up attack of full AoE. Now, the DPS you're seeing right now is going to be multiplied obviously by 2 because he's doing a follow-up attack, right? So as long as there's new enemies that's getting hit by Sukuna that can withstand his his damage, he's going to continuously do follow-up attacks, and he's also going to continuously do 2 times of his damage right here. Obviously, there's limitations to this, like for example, what if there's no more enemies? What if the enemies can't get one-shotted? But obviously that's not a weakness. And obviously he needs to have some limitations, right? Like this unit, as long as everything is happening, like for example, he's doing those follow-up attacks and all of that, he's going to have over 250,000 DPS, which is one of the highest in the game. Obviously there's a drawback to this, but one other thing that people is missing out is how cheap this unit is. He only costs about 98,200 to max out. That includes his placement already. So for that price, you're getting a extremely powerful unit who is full AoE, has follow-up attacks, has bleed, by the way. So if you struggle with regenning enemies, Sukuna's bleed can counter those enemies, which is incredibly, incredibly good. That's pretty much why Sukuna is at the number 1 right now. Obviously, you combine his DPS with all the other things he does, and he's just absolutely broken. That's pretty much the top 5 list right now in the game. That's what the wiki says is the top 5, and that's what I agree with is the top 5. So that's pretty much it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody.